Our next award presentation goes to two educational pioneers for their remarkable record of putting excellent teachers in front of poor and minority students who need them the most. Timothy Daly and Adi Rozman are the president and chief executive, respectively, of TNTP. It was formerly the New Teacher Project. It's a national nonprofit whose motto is Teachers Matter. The project was founded in 1997 with the goal of helping urban school districts recruit, train, and hire new teachers. As they worked with districts across the country, Tim and Adi became increasingly aware of policy barriers that made it difficult to hire and retain great teachers. In 2009, they surveyed over 15,000 teachers and 1,300 principals and issued an influential report called The Widget Effect, concluding that U.S. public school systems treat teachers as interchangeable parts rather than professionals. They set out to change that culture. TNTP is working with schools and districts and states to understand how teachers perform and what is needed for them to be better. It helps schools to develop fair and transparent teacher and principal evaluation systems, and it trains educators to put the tools to use. It is currently working to improve feedback and working conditions for more than 250,000 teachers. A good example of TNTP's impact is Louisiana, where it is training hundreds of teachers to work in the state's highest need schools. A state-sponsored study by researchers from Louisiana State University reported that TNTP-trained teachers had greater impact on student achievement than teachers from 18 other program studies. And joining Adi Rozman is her husband Christopher, her father Gabriel, and her mother Janet. And joining Tim Daly is his wife Anna, his father Michael, and his mother Ann. Would Adi Rozman and Tim Daly please join me at the podium to receive the 2012 Harold McGraw Jr. Prize in Education. Here, Tim. Okay, let's do one together. Okay. Thank you. Here, we'll put them right here. Thank you. Adi, are you going to go first?
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much. A special thank you to Terry McGraw and to McGraw-Hill and to the judges for recognizing our work and for this great honor. And many thanks as well to our families who have traveled from far and near to be with us tonight. We are honored to be here to accept the prize on behalf of all of our colleagues at TNTP. As I tell everyone we meet, we owe all of our success to the extraordinarily talented and passionate team members that we work with every day. They inspire us, and we're so proud to have a few of them sitting right here with us tonight. We will be celebrating with the other 340 or so team members tomorrow in Denver. We have our company meeting. If you picture a boisterous family reunion of education wonks and teachers, you'll pretty much get the idea of what it'll be like. We may actually show up wearing tonight's attire just to see their reactions. Together, over the past 15 years, we have recruited or trained almost 50,000 teachers, worked with hundreds of school districts and tens of thousands of principals, and published dozens of policy reports. We've learned a lot during this time, but from our experience, we've drawn one overarching conclusion, and that is this. If we're serious about giving every child a great education, we have got to get serious about good teaching. The importance of great teachers is clearer than ever. A landmark study this past winter by researchers at Harvard and Columbia concluded, after analyzing 20 years worth of data from 2.5 million students, that teachers who achieved the greatest learning gains had a clear lifelong impact. Students who were lucky enough to have even one of these teachers were more likely to go on to attend college, earn a higher salary, live in more affluent areas, and save more for retirement. They were even less likely to become teenage parents. So this comprehensive study showed us what we already know, that great teaching changes lives. It's as simple as that. Now, given that our country has been in the business of public education for about the past 150 years, you would think that we would know exactly what works and what doesn't work in our classrooms. You would think that we'd have the elements of effective teaching down to a science. But the truth is, we don't. In schools nationwide, effective teaching is poorly defined, and the standards for it are shockingly low. The truth is, we aren't taking good teaching seriously. Not at all, not even close. So what does it mean to take good teaching seriously? It means giving new teachers a clear standard to strive for and practice-based training that prepares them for this incredibly difficult work. It means fostering school cultures that support great teaching and hiring school leaders that insist on it. It means refusing to accept teacher evaluations that expect so little from our educators that 99% are rated as good or great, even in schools where half the students don't finish high school. It means being honest with teachers who aren't successful, despite good intentions and tremendous hard work. And I'm proud to say that this is the work that TNTP is doing today. Most of all, though, it means taking our very best teachers seriously, too. And I'll let Tim tell you more about that.
We spent 2 years working on a study that we published this summer called The Irreplaceables. In that study, we found that there are some teachers who are so good that if they depart a school, it takes 11 new hires to find one teacher who is of comparable quality. They're so good that they tend to achieve 5 to 6 months more of learning per school year than a low-performing teacher. Every single school year, 5 to 6 more months. But we also found something that's hard for us to accept and is rarely talked about, which is that even our best teachers are treated poorly, ignored, and neglected at almost every turn. For example, 2/3 of the top-performing teachers in our study told us that no one in their school leadership team had ever asked them to stay at the school. We found that ineffective teachers are retained at almost the exact same rate as our very best teachers. Driven by that conviction that this couldn't stand, we started an award. Maybe we were inspired by the McGraw Award. We started an award this summer and named it the Fishman Prize. It was named for a math teacher who currently teaches in DC Public Schools, McKinley High, named Shira Fishman, who quit her job as an engineer 8 years ago to become a teacher in a high-poverty school. We picked 4 teachers out of 400 applicants, and we gave them $25,000 to spend the summer writing down what they did that was so special in their classroom that they got outcomes that almost nobody else could even fathom. And one of those teachers, who was one of our irreplaceables, was named Leslie Ross. She's a middle school biology teacher in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is where she grew up, in the same community where she grew up as a low-income youngster. The current school that she attends was the rival to the middle school that she graduated from. And when she applied for this award, she did so because she thought that the money was to buy lab equipment that she could use for her 9th graders. She had no idea that if she won, the money was for her. Leslie is not just one of the best teachers in Greensboro. She might be the best science teacher in all of North Carolina. In the last number of years, she's outscored the typical test scores for her district on the end-of-course test for 9th grade biology by more than 25 points. In fact, she hasn't had a single student fail the 9th grade biology test in 3 years, despite inheriting students, many of whom have never passed a standardized test in their lives. Her motto, which she said when we interviewed her in the most humble of ways, when she drove to New York City from Greensboro, North Carolina, leaving the state for the first time in her life, she said, "If they say it can't be done, I sure would like to be the person to do it." The problem is that Leslie is not treated as an irreplaceable. Until she received this Fishman Prize, she had never been told that she was exceptionally effective or that having 100% of her kids pass the 9th grade biology end of course exam for 3 consecutive years was amazing. In fact, after 15 years of teaching, Leslie makes less than $50,000 and has not even had a cost of living raise in the last 4 years. Just for comparison's sake, the superintendent in her county, which is Guilford County, North Carolina, makes $250,000 a year. So just to be clear, he makes almost 6 times as much money as his best teacher. When she won the Fishman Prize, Leslie earned as much money in 6 weeks as she typically earns in 6 months as a teacher. If we are going to be serious about great teaching, we should start by changing Leslie's salary tomorrow. And it's not a pipe dream. Imagine that in other industries this is done all the time. For instance, great leaders are critical, but are they more important than the people who produce value? Here in New York City, the head coach of the New York Giants, who's won 2 Super Bowls, is Tom Coughlin, and he earns $5.25 million. It's a lot of money. But he doesn't earn as much money as his best player. Eli Manning, the quarterback of the team, makes $16.25 million a year. In fact, there isn't a single team in the NFL where there isn't a star player who makes more money than the head coach and the president of the team. That's because industries that depend on talent reward talent. But in education, we have it backwards. We tend to pay lip service to talent, and we pay lip service to teachers who do amazing things. But great teachers end up being paid in that lip service and pity instead of real money. We all know that teachers don't do it for the money. We hear that all the time. But plenty of them leave because of lack of money. We need to stop accepting the false choice between greater accountability and better conditions for teachers. And we have to understand that being pro-teacher means respecting teachers and having rigor and showing that respect in ways that matter, that attract great people to the profession and keep them here. So our plea to you is an idea. You all have an enormous amount of power and influence, and you have a great amount of passion for education. Our plea to you is take every ounce of passion that you have and every amount of power that you have and put it towards the idea that for once and for all, we will make great teaching matter the way that it should. Thank you for this award.